What's up, Nick? Quick demo video for you for the staff that you had me install for you. This is for your Starfall client. So these are both identical in Sabers and both, as installs as well. And then they have a coupler, obviously, that we'll go over. So we'll test each one individually, and then I'll slap the coupler on at the very end, and you can see it as a staff light up. I've got two different size blades here. I've got, they're both 1 inch, but one of them is just a short test blade and the other one is a little bit longer, I think, than what you had me program these at. So I've got, I've got this short guy here and then I've got this test blade here, but we'll throw them both in and you can see them light up for the sake of functionality. They'll work just fine. Okay, so this first one right here, on both of them, what you want to do is just unscrew the pommel. So that's what we'll do here. Before I did that, these guys are screwed in so that they line up. And then as you told me in your video, the staff can go on either side, or the coupler can go on either side. So here or here, it doesn't matter. But for the pommels, they need to be matched up with the saber if you want this D-ring here to line up with this screw, right? So that's what I did. But we'll unscrew this pommel. I don't want to drop it. So this comes out. What you'll see is your speaker here, right? But you can just go like that and this thing slides right out. I mean, it's very, very smooth. Comes right out just like that. And we'll put this off to the side, and then here's your chassis. It does say Solo Sabers over here for me in Arabic. It says Starfall Sabers over here for you. And then just some aesthetics I like to do the chassis. You've got a Smuggler's Outpost emblem over here that I like to put on there. Your Proffie board. This is a snap fit down into the shelf. I don't use glue and I don't use tape when I can get away with it. So if the customer wants to get to their SD card, they will need to pop the board up. I don't suggest taking it all the way out. You can just take something and pop it up diagonally like this so you can get to your SD card and your micro USB and then snap it back down into place. It's a lot easier to do it that way. The board does have the Starfall collection of sound fonts on there. I believe there's 8 of them. And then there's a copy of the config that I used on each one of these cards, even though it's identical for both. And you've got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker back here. Now something you might notice here that I talked to you about, that there's a little spacer right here. It's actually 0.35 inches thick. And that is to keep the pommel here off the speaker drum so you don't get any sound distortion. And then this helps push the entire chassis forward. And it's got Smuggler's Outpost switch pixel PCB set right here. It pushes this entire chassis forward and it engages those 14 pins that you can just barely see in there. There's a secondary piece of a chassis that doesn't come loose. It's about from here to here or so. That holds the CC Sabers LEDs in there that I've got there, and then that PCB in the back. And then you've got 2 brass switches from Phil Guinness. We got one over here and one over here. Now I installed these in a way, hopefully, that you can remember where the power is. So if you have this brass shroud sticking up like this, right, sticking up, the button on the right hand side of that shroud is going to be the power button, and it's going to be the same for both of these sabers. I just wanted to keep it consistent so that whoever gets this wouldn't get confused, because after you play with these for a while you get the hang of it. But anyway, your chassis right here, you got a removable battery setup. Spring size your negative over here for both of them. Try not to have any wires showing if I can help it. I was able to do that on this guy. And we will throw a battery in. It does matter how you put this battery in because there's such tight tolerances on this chassis. If you pay attention to the battery, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera, but underneath this shrink tube, about right here, there's a metal piece that runs from one end of the battery all the way to the other end. You want to try to keep that not facing out, okay? And not facing in either. So what I do is I just kind of, if I can catch it on camera, you can almost see that metal strip underneath the shrink tube there. I just kind of scoot it over to the side to one of these greeblies I've got on the chassis. And it's something you'll have to play around with a little bit, but you'll notice if you don't do that, it's a little bit tighter to put the chassis in. It's not impossible, but if you do that little thing that I'm showing you there, when you go to put the chassis in, it slides right in. You gotta put it in the right way though. So not speaker first like I just did, but this PCB goes in first, and then you can put it in any way you want. You don't have to clock anything. Just take it, and slide it right in, just like that. And then we'll come in and we'll lock the pommel down. Now you can tighten this all the way until it lines up with that screw. Now you've got motion controls. You got your LEDs firing up. Nice smooth swing. Auxiliary. We'll twist off. Or we can come over here and hit the power button. Same thing. And then hit it again and turn it off. Just like that. So this one's working exactly like it's supposed to. We'll put it off to the side. And we'll do the same thing on this one. We won't spend as much time talking about it because it's identical in nature, but I'll just throw a battery in this one on camera so you can see that they're both firing up. Again, the chassis will slide right out for you. Chassis is identical. Identical here with the board. Removable battery. Removable, the spring for your negative is on the same side. I always put it over here by the PCB. So we'll throw a battery in this guy too. And we'll toss it right in the Saber. Just like that. And then we'll lock this down as well. Good to go there. Auxiliary. These things are super loud. Twist off. Or we'll hit power right here. Tap it again and turn it off. Just like that. These Phil Guinness buttons take a little bit of getting used to. They do not have the tactile feel on them, so it's not like a clicky sound. So don't be afraid, you know, when you're pushing it, push it, right? And that's all good there. So we'll go ahead and we'll throw a blade in this guy real quick. Now, for the sake of this demo, I'm not going to use an Allen key for your blade retention. You have one right here, and it's the exact same on the other Saber. I'm just going to use my fingers to tighten it up because we're not going to go too crazy with it. But an Allen key is probably something that would be needed if your customer wants to go, you know, a little crazy. We'll turn that off and we'll put this off to the side. And then we'll put the longer blade into this guy. And again, I'm just going to use my fingers to tighten this guy up. You can get it pretty tight with your fingers. Just like that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the blades in and then awkwardly on camera take these pommels off and put the staff coupler on. So this guy will just screw in just like this. And lock that chassis down. And then we'll do the same thing for this guy. On staffs like this with the exact same setup, that's where the motion controls are really cool because you can get them to fire off at the same time. So, you know, they'll be in unison as much as possible. So now what we've got is your staff. This is a beautiful staff. I can get it all on camera. Very cool. You can see they're both firing up, and then if I find the auxiliary on one, then on the other. You have battle mode. So if you hit the blades or the saber, you initiate blade lockup. You'll see it in the middle of your blade, so you can barely see it here, but you can see it right here. And it'll stay like that until you pull away from it. Now if I can get myself on camera firing this off, everything's working exactly like it should, right? I don't have a whole lot of room to be swinging this around, but you can tell you got your nice motion controls, twist off. They both come off just like that. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take this apart off camera. But yeah, so that is your staff. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, I will package this guy up and get it out to you in the mail by tomorrow. All right, thanks, man.